The grand hall of Baron Vex's estate glittered with floating crystals and shimmering force fields. Hundreds of the galaxy's elite moved through the space in their finest attire, their scaled skin and metallic implants catching the light. Among them walked a single human, Dr. James Walker, his simple black suit making him stand out like a dark star among cosmic dust. Walker kept his face neutral as alien nobles whispered behind their hands, their translator devices barely hiding their mocking tones. As Earth's representative to the medical council, he had grown used to their attitude. The stellar dominion saw humans as primitive upstarts, barely worth notice despite their recent admission to the galactic community. The Baron himself stood on a raised platform, his deep purple scales polished to a mirror shine. His cybernetic eyes swept the crowd, and his mouth curved into what passed for a smile among his kind. Walker had heard rumors about the Baron's cruelty, but nothing prepared him for what came next. Esteemed guests, the Baron's voice boomed through the hall. Today marks not only my 500th year of rule, but also a special announcement. He raised a clawed hand, and servants brought forward a floating biostasis pod. Inside the pod, Walker saw a young alien woman. Her scales were a lighter shade of purple than her father's, and unlike the other nobles, she wore no cybernetic enhancements. She was conscious, her eyes moving to track the crowd, but her body remained completely still. "My daughter, Rose," the Baron continued, his voice dripping with false sadness. "For 15 years, she has been a reminder of imperfection in our bloodline. An accident in her youth left her paralyzed, a condition that even our advanced medical science could not fix." He paused, letting the crowd murmur in disgust. In their society, any physical imperfection was seen as a mark of shame. Walker's hands tightened into fists. He had read about Rose in the medical files. The accident had been caused by her father's reckless showing off of a new spacecraft, but he had blamed her for not being strong enough to handle the G-forces. But today, the Baron's voice took on an amused tone. "I have found a solution. We have with us Dr. Walker, a representative of humanity." He gestured toward Walker, and the crowd parted. Humans pride themselves on helping the weak, don't they? They keep their disabled alive instead of letting nature take its course. So what better gift for a human doctor than a broken noble? The crowd laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the crystal walls. Walker looked at Rose and saw the shame in her eyes, the hurt she tried to hide. But there was something else too, a spark of intelligence and determination that her father had failed to crush. "Come forward, Dr. Walker," the Baron commanded. "Accept my gift. Show us how human medicine can succeed where the galaxy's finest minds have failed." More laughter followed his words. Walker walked to the platform, his steps measured in and calm. The Baron expected him to refuse, to run away embarrassed. That's what made it so satisfying when Walker bowed formally and said, "I accept your generous gift, Baron Vex." The laughter stopped. The Baron's cybernetic eye whirred as he focused on Walker's face, looking for signs of mockery. He found none. "You accept." The Baron's voice held a note of uncertainty for the first time. "I do," Walker said clearly. "And I thank you for this opportunity to demonstrate human medical science." He turned to Rose and bowed again. "My lady, with your permission, I would be honored to help you." Rose's eyes widened. Walker saw tears forming in them. The first time he'd seen any of these aliens show such emotion. She blinked once, slowly. A yes. The Baron stood frozen, trapped by his own cruel joke. By the ancient customs of his people, he couldn't take back a formally given and accepted gift. He had meant to shame both his daughter and humanity in one stroke. Instead, he had just handed them both a chance at something revolutionary. Walker stepped forward and took control of the biostasis pod's controls. As he guided it toward the exit, he heard the Baron's angry breathing behind him. But it didn't matter. What mattered was the look of hope in Rose's eyes, a look that said she was ready to fight for her future, with or without her father's blessing. Dr. Walker guided the biostasis pod through the quiet corridors of his temporary quarters in the Stellar Dominion's medical center. The party's noise had faded, replaced by the soft hum of medical equipment. He looked at Rose, still floating in the pod's clear fluid, her eyes following his movements. "First things first," he said, activating the pod's communication system. "Would you like to talk?" A small screen lit up with words as Rose used her eye movements to type. "You didn't have to accept." Father meant it as an insult. Walker pulled up a chair next to the pod. "I know. But I also know that sometimes the best answers come from people others look down on." He smiled. "Besides, I've read about your research papers from before the accident. You were studying bioneural interfaces, weren't you?" Rose's eyes widened slightly. Few people had bothered to look up her past work. Most just saw her as the Baron's broken daughter. The screen flickered with her response. "Yes, I wanted to help people communicate better with machines. Father said it was beneath our family's dignity." "Well," Walker said, pulling out his tablet, "I think it's time you saw what humans have been doing with similar technology." He held up the screen, showing videos of humans using advanced prosthetics, controlling computers with their thoughts, and walking with mechanical assistance. The text appeared faster now. "But our doctors said neural interfaces wouldn't work with our biology. Our nervous system is too different from humans." "They're right about that," Walker agreed. "But they're thinking about it wrong. They're trying to make your body fit their solution. Humans, we make the solution fit the body." He stood up and walked to a large screen on the wall, bringing up detailed medical scans. "Your biostasis pod has kept perfect records of your condition, and I noticed something interesting. Your nervous system isn't completely damaged. It's more like disconnected in places." Rose typed quickly. "The doctors said the same thing, but they couldn't reconnect it because they were trying to heal it completely," Walker explained. "But what if we didn't need to? What if we could build bridges over the damaged parts instead?" He brought up more images, these showing human medical devices, merged with diagrams of Rose's alien biology. "We've been helping humans with similar injuries for decades. Yes, your biology is different, but the basic principle is the same. Find ways around the damage rather than trying to undo it. It won't be easy," he continued. "We'll need to combine human adaptive technology with your people's bioengineering. It will take time, testing, probably some failures along the way. But I believe it's possible." Rose was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Why help me? Really?" Walker sat back down, his face serious. "Because every person deserves a chance to live their best life. Because your research could have helped a lot of people, and still can. And because proving your father wrong about both you and humanity. That's just a nice bonus." For the first time, Rose's face showed what might have been a smile. Her text appeared. "The nobles will say you're wasting your time. That it's better to let nature take its course." "The nobles aren't doctors," Walker replied firmly. "And nature didn't put you in this pod. Prejudice did. Besides, humans have a long history of doing things others say are impossible." He started typing on his tablet. "I'm sending a request to Earth's Medical Council right now. We'll need a proper research facility, a team of specialists in neural interfaces, and experts in alien biology. Your father wanted to shame us. Let's show him what happens when human determination meets alien technology." Rose's next words came slowly, carefully chosen. "I want to help, not just be helped. I have ideas." Walker grinned. "I was hoping you'd say that. You know your own biology better than anyone, and your previous research could be crucial. We're not just going to help you walk again. We're going to revolutionize how both our species think about medical treatment." The screen lit up one last time. "When do we start?" "Right now," Walker said, already sending more messages to Earth. "Your father gave us an opportunity, even if he didn't mean to. Let's make the most of it." The Earth Medical Center stood tall against the morning sky, its glass walls reflecting the sunrise. Inside one of its largest research labs, a team of doctors gathered around Rose's biostasis pod, their faces showing a mix of anger and amazement. "This is both brilliant and horrible," Dr. Lisa Reed said, studying the pod's readings. "The stasis technology is incredible, but using it as a permanent solution." She shook her head. "It's like putting someone in a fancy prison and calling it a house." Walker watched as the team carefully connected the pod to Earth's medical systems. Rose's eyes darted around, taking in every detail of the human facility. It looked less advanced than the Baron's medical centers, fewer shining surfaces and floating displays. But it had something the alien hospitals lacked: warmth. The walls showed pictures of successful patients. Tables held thank you cards. And most importantly, the doctors treated Rose like a person, not a problem to be hidden away. "Look at these neural patterns," Dr. Marcus Jones said, pointing to a screen. "Her mind is as sharp as ever." The pod preserved her brain function perfectly. He turned to Rose's display screen. "My lady, your father's doctors did you a great disservice by not looking deeper into human medical archives." Rose typed her response. "They said human medicine was too primitive to be worth studying." "Primitive?" Dr. Reed laughed. "We've been helping people walk again after spinal injuries for over 50 years. Sure, our methods might not look as pretty as alien tech, but they work." As they talked, more doctors arrived, each bringing different expertise. They studied the intersection between Rose's alien biology and human neural interface technology. Some worked on adapting human spine stabilization techniques. Others focused on converting the alien bioengineering into something that could work with Earth's systems. Walker smiled as he saw Rose actively participating in the discussions. She shared her own research, pointed out differences in alien biology they needed to consider, and even suggested improvements to their initial designs. "The Baron's spy is watching again," Dr. Jones whispered to Walker, nodding toward a small alien device hovering near a window. "Let him watch," Walker replied. "The more they see us actually trying to help, the better. Maybe some of them will start questioning their attitudes about disabilities." Days turned into weeks. The team made progress, but also faced challenges. Human neural interfaces had to be completely redesigned to work with alien nerve structures. The biostasis pod systems sometimes conflicted with Earth's equipment, but no one gave up. Rose noticed the difference between human and alien approaches. When something didn't work, the human doctors didn't abandon it. They adapted, tried new angles, combined different ideas until they found solutions. They celebrated small victories and learned from failures instead of seeing them as shameful. One morning, Walker came in to find Rose's screen filled with text. "I never knew medical care could be like this. At home, doctors treated me like I was broken. Here, they treat me like I'm healing." "That's because you are healing," Walker said. "It's just happening in a way your people didn't consider valid." He checked some readings and smiled. "Speaking of which, I have good news. The first prototype of your neural bridge is ready for testing." The team gathered around as Dr. Reed explained the plan. "We'll start small, just trying to create a connection around the smallest damaged area. If it works, you might be able to move a finger or two. And if it doesn't work," Rose typed, "then we'll try something else," Dr. Jones said firmly. "That's what we do here. We keep trying until we succeed." Walker saw Rose's eyes shine with unshed tears. The screen lit up with her words. "In all my years in that pod, no doctor ever said that to me." "Well," Walker said, "welcome to Earth medicine, where impossible is just another word for hasn't been solved yet." The spy drone recorded everything, sending its footage back to the Baron. Soon, the whole stellar dominion would see that humans weren't just trying to help Rose. They were succeeding in ways the aliens had never imagined possible. The testing chamber hummed with energy as doctors made final adjustments to the prototype neural bridge. Rose remained in her biostasis pod, but now dozens of new connections linked the pod to human medical devices. The room was quiet except for the soft beeping of monitors and the occasional whispered conversation. "All right," Dr. Reed said, checking the readings one last time. "The bridge is in position. It's connecting the healthy neurons above and below the first damage point in your right hand. She looked at Rose. Are you ready to try? Rose's text appeared on the screen. Yes. But I haven't moved anything in 15 years. What if I've forgotten how? Your brain remembers, Dr. Jones assured her. We've been monitoring your neural patterns. When you think about moving, the signals are still there. They just can't get through. This bridge should fix that. Walker stood close to the pod, watching Rose's face. Remember, we're only trying for small movements today. Just your index finger. Don't be disappointed if. He stopped mid-sentence. Everyone in the room held their breath. Rose's right index finger had twitched, just slightly, but it had definitely moved. Again, Dr. Reed said softly. Try it again. The finger moved more definitely this time. Up, then down. Rose's eyes were wide with amazement. The screen filled with letters. I can feel it. I can feel my finger. The room erupted in cheers. Dr. Jones was already checking the neural readings, his face bright with excitement. The bridge is holding. The signals are getting through perfectly. How does it feel? Walker asked. Strange, Rose typed. Like waking up a part of me that was asleep for a very long time. Her finger moved again, more confidently now. It doesn't feel exactly like before, but it works. News of the success spread quickly. Within hours, the Baron's spy drones were joined by others, all recording the historic moment. The first successful merger of human neural interface technology and alien biology had just changed everything. More messages began arriving at the medical center. Other aliens with injuries and disabilities wanted to know if human doctors could help them too. Some had conditions their own people had declared untreatable. They had seen hope in Rose's moving finger. Look at these requests, Dr. Reed said, showing Walker her tablet. A child with muscle weakness from the Centauri colonies, a pilot who lost limb control in an accident. Even some of the Baron's own people are asking for help in secret. Walker was about to respond when alarms suddenly blared. Rose's finger had stopped moving. Bridge failure. Dr. Jones rushed to check the readings, but then he started laughing. No, look. She's not just moving her index finger anymore. She's moving all of them. Sure enough, Rose's entire hand was slowly opening and closing. The neural bridge had adapted, spreading its connections to neighboring nerve pathways. The human technology was working better than they had hoped. The alien bioengineering is actually helping, Dr. Reed said in amazement. It's taking our basic bridge design and improving it, making it more efficient. Our two technologies are working together. Rose's text appeared, like our two species should be doing. The spy drones caught everything, broadcasting it across the galaxy. The Baron watched from his estate, his cybernetic eyes zooming in on his daughter's moving hand. For the first time, doubt crept into his mind. Had he been wrong about humans? About her? We'll start on the other hand tomorrow, Walker said. Then we'll work on your arms. After that, he smiled. Well, I believe you mentioned wanting to walk into your father's hall someday. Rose's response was simple. Not just walk. Dance. The doctors laughed, but they all knew she meant it. The breakthrough wasn't just about moving fingers anymore. It was about proving that differences in technology, biology, or ability didn't matter as much as the will to help each other grow stronger. And somewhere in the stellar dominion, a baroness with a lame leg began packing for a trip to Earth, hoping that these strange humans might help her too. 3 months after the first finger movement, the Earth Medical Center's physical therapy room buzzed with activity. Rose stood in a specially designed support frame, her body free from the biostasis pod for the first time in 15 years. Neural bridges now connected most of her upper body and parts of her legs. That's it, Walker encouraged as Rose gripped the parallel bars. Take your time. The supports won't let you fall. Rose's legs shook with effort. Moving fingers was one thing. Standing up against gravity was something else entirely. But her face showed pure determination. She had typed a message earlier that morning. Today, I walk. Dr. Reed monitored the neural bridge connections on her tablet. Everything's stable. Your brain is sending the signals perfectly. Just remember your training. Think about each muscle group one at a time. Slowly, Rose lifted her right foot. For a moment, it hung in the air. Then, with careful control, she moved it forward and placed it down. The left foot followed. One step. Look at that muscle control, Dr. Jones said proudly. The neural bridges are adapting even better than we hoped. They're not just passing signals, they're helping her brain relearn movement patterns. Another step, and another. Rose's scales gleamed with effort under the room's lights, but her eyes shone with joy. The spy drones hovering nearby recorded every moment, sending images across the galaxy of something many had claimed was impossible. We're getting more requests for treatment, Walker told Rose as she rested between sessions. Your success is changing minds. Even some of the noble families are starting to question their old beliefs about disabilities. Rose typed on her portable screen. Good. But we need to make the treatment better, cheaper, available to everyone, not just the rich. Walker smiled. This was why he had first accepted the Baron's cruel gift. Rose didn't just want to heal herself. She wanted to help others. Already, she had suggested improvements to the neural bridge design, making it more efficient and easier to produce. By the end of the day, Rose had walked the length of the parallel bars 3 times. As the medical team helped her back into a modified version of her biostasis pod for rest, a message arrived from the Stellar Dominion. Your father wants to visit, Walker told her. He's seen the recordings. I think he's finally realizing what he almost threw away. Rose's response was quick. Let him come, but not yet. First, I want to be strong enough to walk to him myself. The next few weeks saw amazing progress. Rose worked harder than anyone the doctors had ever seen. She moved from parallel bars to a walking frame, then to crutches. The neural bridges grew stronger, allowing finer control of her movements. But it wasn't just physical therapy. Rose spent hours in the research lab, working with the team to improve the technology. Her understanding of alien biology, combined with human innovation, led to breakthrough after breakthrough. Each improvement made the treatment better, more accessible, more affordable. Other aliens began arriving at the medical center. A young pilot who had lost the use of his wings. A merchant's child born with weak limbs. Each success story spread across the galaxy, challenging old prejudices. One morning, as Rose practiced walking with just a single cane for support, she saw a familiar face on the news screen. The Baroness with the lame leg, who had first arrived seeking treatment in secret, was now speaking openly to reporters. The nobles called it weakness to seek help, the Baroness said. But I call it strength to face our challenges and overcome them. These humans and their medicine have taught us that different doesn't mean broken. Rose typed a message to Walker. That's what Father never understood. True strength isn't in pretending to be perfect. It's in working to become better, no matter what others think. Walker watched as she stood up straight, her movements growing more confident each day, ready to show him that lesson in person. Rose's answer was to walk steadily across the room, each step a testament to human innovation and alien determination working together. The old barriers were falling, one step at a time. 6 months after Rose took her first steps, the Earth Medical Center hosted the first interspecies medical conference on adaptive technologies. The main hall was filled with doctors from across the galaxy, including many from the Stellar Dominion who had once mocked human medicine. Rose stood at the podium, no longer needing any support to walk. Her scales gleamed with health, and her movements were smooth and confident. The neural bridges had become a natural part of her, proof that technology should adapt to people, not the other way around. Welcome, she said, using her own voice for the first time in public. The neural bridges now gave her enough control for speech, though she still used text for longer conversations. Today, we celebrate not just medical breakthroughs, but a new way of thinking about healing. The audience watched in amazement as she walked across the stage. Many had seen the recordings of her progress, but seeing her in person was different. She was living proof that their society's beliefs about disability had been wrong. Dr. Walker sat in the front row, watching proudly as Rose showed videos of other success stories. The young pilot was flying again, his neural bridges giving him control of his wings. The merchant's child was running and playing. The Baroness was dancing at court functions, her leg now strong and responsive. But this is just the beginning, Rose continued. The real revolution isn't in the technology. It's in how we think about medicine. Human doctors taught me that healing isn't about reaching some perfect standard. It's about helping each person live their best life, whatever that means for them. She pressed a button, and the screen behind her filled with images of new medical centers being built across the galaxy. Each one would combine human adaptive technology with alien bioengineering. More importantly, they would be open to anyone who needed help, not just the wealthy and powerful. The nobles are furious, Dr. Reed whispered to Walker. Their private hospitals are losing patients to these new centers. People are choosing human-style treatment over traditional alien medicine. Walker nodded. Because we treat the person, not just the condition. And now, thanks to Rose's improvements to the neural bridge design, the treatment costs 1/10 of what it did 6 months ago. Rose was showing the latest version of the neural bridge system. It was smaller, more efficient, and could be adapted for different alien species. She had worked countless hours with the research team, combining her knowledge of alien biology with human innovation. My father thought he was mocking humans by giving me to their care, Rose told the audience. Instead, he helped start a revolution in medical treatment. Sometimes, the greatest progress comes from our biggest mistakes. The crowd laughed, but they knew she was right. The Baron's cruel joke had backfired spectacularly. Now his name was associated with the old way of thinking, a way that was rapidly losing support. After the conference, doctors from across the galaxy crowded around Rose and Walker, asking questions and sharing ideas. Species that had once looked down on human medicine now wanted to learn everything they could about adaptive technology. Did you ever imagine it would go this far? Rose typed to Walker during a quiet moment. That one small success could change so much. Walker smiled. Honestly, yes. Because I knew once people saw what was possible, they wouldn't be satisfied with being told something was impossible. That's the real human gift to the galaxy. Not the technology, but the belief that there's always another way. News of the conference spread quickly through the galaxy. More and more aliens began questioning their society's attitudes toward disability and difference. The revolution wasn't just medical, it was cultural. That evening, as Rose practiced her dancing for the upcoming demonstration at her father's estate, a message arrived from the Baron. He wanted to speak with her before her return home. "Are you ready?" Walker asked. Rose's answer appeared on her screen. "More than ready. It's time to show Father that his greatest shame has become his greatest legacy, even if he didn't mean it to be." The grand hall of Baron Vex's estate looked exactly as it had the day he had given Rose away as a cruel joke. The same floating crystals sparkled overhead, the same noble families gathered in their fine clothes, but everything else had changed. Rose stood outside the main doors, wearing a dress that showed rather than hid her neural bridges. The silvery lines traced elegant patterns across her scales, a perfect blend of human technology and alien biology. Dr. Walker stood beside her, along with Dr. Reed and Dr. Jones. "The Baron is waiting in his private chamber," a servant told them. "He wishes to speak with you before the public announcement." Rose typed on her portable screen. "No. If he wants to speak to me, he can do it in front of everyone. That's where he gave me away. That's where he'll face what he did." She walked into the hall, her steps confident and graceful. The crowd parted, their whispers filling the air. Many had seen recordings of her progress, but seeing her walk in person left them stunned. This was the daughter their Baron had called broken, now moving more elegantly than any of them. The Baron stood on his raised platform, his cybernetic eye whirring as he watched his daughter approach. His scales had lost some of their shine, and his posture showed the weight of recent events. His political power had crumbled as more and more nobles supported the new medical centers. "Father," Rose said aloud, her voice clear in the quiet hall, "I have returned from your gift." The Baron's hands gripped his ceremonial staff tightly. "Daughter, you look well." "I am well," Rose replied, "thanks to the humans you mockingly gave me to. Thanks to their belief that every person deserves help, not shame." She turned to address the crowd. "And now I return, not just to show you my recovery, but to announce something more." She nodded to Walker, who stepped forward with official documents. The Earth Medical Council, in partnership with reformed members of the Stellar Dominion, is establishing the galaxy's first advanced adaptive medical academy, and they have chosen this estate as its location. The Baron's eye whirred faster. "My estate? You cannot." "We can," Rose interrupted. "By law, a baron who brings shame upon his house can be challenged by his heir. My recovery has proven your judgment was wrong. The noble families have voted. This estate will serve a greater purpose now." The crowd murmured in agreement. Many of them had family members who had been helped by the new medical treatments. Some wore their own neural bridges proudly, no longer hiding their conditions. "The academy will be open to all," Walker explained, "rich or poor, noble or common. It will train doctors from every species in both human adaptive techniques and alien bioengineering." The Baron looked around the hall, seeing support for his daughter in every face. His shoulders slumped, then straightened. In a clear voice, he said, "I was wrong. About humans, about medicine, about you, my daughter. I let pride blind me to the truth, that strength comes in many forms." Rose walked up to the platform, each step a reminder of how far she had come. "Then help us, Father. Your knowledge of our people and their needs could make the academy even better." For a moment, the Baron stood frozen. Then slowly he nodded. "I would be honored to learn a new way of helping our people." Rose smiled and turned to the crowd. "Today marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. No longer will we hide those who are different. No longer will we shame those who need help. Instead, we will learn from each other, grow together, and show the galaxy what is possible when we combine our strengths." She held out her hands, and music began to play. "And to celebrate this new beginning, I invite you all to dance with me." The Baron watched in amazement as his daughter, once confined to a biostasis pod, led the gathering in a traditional dance. Her movements flowed smoothly, the neural bridges glowing softly with each step. In that moment, he finally understood what the humans had been trying to teach them all along. That true strength lay not in perfection, but in the courage to overcome challenges together. And so, in a hall that had once witnessed a cruel joke, a new future began. A future where human innovation and alien technology worked together, where differences were celebrated rather than shunned, and where one father's mistake had led to healing for an entire galaxy.